Hey folks, welcome back to Epic Flail. I just wanted to do a quick video going through my thought process for building lists. I've been writing loads of lists recently, getting back into the game, spending loads of time on the Warmachine app. And I've not been writing like the best, most meta lists. I've just been writing lists that I think are going to be fun for me to play. But it was something that I thought this process is really useful for people to know, or people, particularly new players, particularly people getting back into the game. I've played Warmachine at a very high level in the past. I'm just completely fresh, going to get smashed for probably years on end, or at least months and months and months on end. But I want to kind of document and talk about the process that I'm going through to make lists that I think are going to be fun to play and reasonable at the table. I've purposely picked a caster that's not like a meta caster, because if you want to find the meta list, then just go on Longshanks and just copy the WTC list. But if you're a new player or you're a returning player, I would strongly advise you thinking less about that and more just building lists that you're going to enjoy at the table and you're going to learn with. And the best way to learn a list is to build it from scratch based upon a bunch of principles. It's not to just copy and paste a list. Please don't go copy and pasting lists. Start from fresh, build something that you're going to be interested in. So I'm just going to share quickly a list that I've built, and we're not going to go into the list too much. I'm just going to use it as an example to show how I build and think about lists. It's not the best list. It's not a meta list. It's just a bit of fun. But the principles that I've used are relevant regardless of your list building. So I've picked a Lylyth list because I love Lylyth. This is the best model that they've released ever. I love this model so much. It's absolutely awesome. And I think it's going to be a bit of fun at the table. I like shooting lists. I've always liked Lylyth. The Lylyth of old, she looks a lot different than she did now, I'll tell you that. But yeah, I know I'm kind of going to enjoy this list. So you obviously start with your caster and you pick a caster that's going to suit your playstyle. The process that I then go through is I think, can this list deal with high defense? Does it have abilities and synergies that mean that if my opponent's like, boom, there you go, def 16 stuff, deal with it? Can I go, okay, yeah, fine, I'll deal with it? Or will I go, oh no, I've no way of doing that, I'm in trouble? So typically speaking, defense 14, 15 is good. Like defense 14 is solid. You're often needing to boost a hit at rat 6 or at mat 6 or rat 6, or you're going to need some kind of synergy to make it a bit easier for you. But like def 14 is good. That's a good defense to be at. Why am I saying too much NFL? American defense, not defense. And like def 16, 17, 18 is really good. Like that's a realm where like things get a bit stressful. But I want to make sure that like if my opponent just drops a unit on the table that's like defense 14, 15, I'm going to have the tools to deal with it. So this list has the tools to deal with it because Lylyth is a shooting caster. He, I don't know, she, it, dragon thing, has Deadeye, which gives a target-friendly faction model an additional die on the first range attack. Great way of dealing with high defense, because often if someone's got high defense, it doesn't have high armor. So, you know, as long as you're spending your resources to hit, you should normally kill it. So off to a good start with that. And if you look through the list, I've got lots of spray attacks. And with Deadeye, that can be quite nice to make sure I hit at least one of those key models. And I also have a solo in there who has an ability by which I can debuff living enemy models' defense by a further 2. So even though that's only guns against living, the fact that that exists, plus I've got Deadeye, plus I've got a bunch of cohort models who have sprays, which I can boost the hits for. This feels like a list that can deal with defense. So I'm, you know, I sort of, that's the first checkbox gone. The second one is armor. You want to build a list that can deal with high armor. Now, again, like 18 is standard, 20 is reasonable, 22, 24, that's high armor. So if I see something at the table that's plonked in front of me and it's armor 23, I want to have a list that can go, okay, cool, we can give that a bit of a hard time. Does this list do that? Well, this list does do that, and I won't go into huge amounts of detail, but I have Curse of Shadows in the spell rack. Obviously, you can pick the spell rack before the game, but Curse of Shadows exists in there in the faction, so that's a nice starting point. There are also other spells in there which will increase the amount of damage that you're doing. There is Silence of Death, which can give a friendly model or unit +2 to melee attack damage rolls. So again, that's +2 damage. That's decent. So good spell rack. Good spell in there that'll help me in melee. Good spell that'll help me there from range. Curse of Shadows also gives -2 armor. I have an arc node by which I can apply that debuff, which is good. There's no point having the spell and no way to apply it. I also have a solo which gives my cohort models +2 damage. he whips them up, he gets them real angry, so they get +2 to melee attack damage rolls. So again, like that, Belligal plus the spell, plus like some jacks, some war beasts that are starting at like a decent, like POW 18 is kind of okay. That's like a decent starting point before I start layering buffs on. So yeah, this list can deal with armor, and also the Wyvern also has an ability that gives +2 to fire damage rolls, and there's lots of fire attacks. So I'm ticking that box. I'm ticking the high armor box. I can deal with high armor. I can deal with high defense. That's good. The next thing to think about is, what problems is my list presenting at the table? Does my list at list selection cause a bit of a stress or a bit of a worry? And that's always in a good place to be. Rather than just being a toolbox and being like, I can just kind of deal with whatever's thrown at me, which isn't a bad spot, you also want to have something that kind of stresses your opponent out a little bit. This list has a really good range threat. It has an ongoing assassination threat. The way the Witcher list is built will just give people headaches, both in terms of where they can put the caster and how far up they can get to the table. Lylyth has Slipstream, which is a great spell, can move a model 2 inches. So all these war beasts, their speed is 6, but if I can Slipstream them, it's effectively going up to 8. I also have Belligal, which means I can charge for free, so those charging models can be quite efficient, which is nice. And I have the defense buff, which means that if you put a living caster in a precarious position, I could get my solo up there in your face. I could drop the defense down by 2. I could then have lots of shooting attacks at that caster, so that's decent. So yeah, I think my list is causing some problems. It's causing some headaches. It's got a decent range threat. It's got a decent melee threat. I've got Hunter's Mark in there as well, so like I'm getting Slipstream for 2. I could Hunter's Mark something for another 2, which means this bad boy, Skylar, what's with all the names in this faction, by the way? Please, not good for my pronunciation. He's got a really good threat range. I can't Slipstream the Wyvern because it's a bigger base than allows, but just having options in terms of getting some of my beasts downtown is good. So this does present a range threat. It does present a melee threat. It gives some headaches at the table. The last thing I think about is, how does this list play on scenario? Does it have a decent spread of models? What does it look like on the table? Does it have enough beasts? Does it have enough solos? Does it have enough units? And I feel a reasonable point is like 3 units, 3 to 4 units, 3 solos, and 4 cohort models is really balanced. That's really nice. So the Steamroller pack, my list is not going to struggle to apply itself at the table. There's some discussion and debate around the effectiveness of solos at the moment. We'll get into that at a later date, but I think they're very effective. They still contest, they can score on terrain pieces, and they're often hard to kill. So like solos are just very good at getting around the table. 3 solos in a list, I think, is a really good shout. So my list is balanced. It's got a balanced presence at the table. If you tick all those boxes, you're in a good place. There are much more analysis and thoughts and deep dives you can do, but if you're ticking those boxes, you're in a good spot. And if you can tick all those boxes, what it normally means is you've built what's called like a natural synergy in the list. So what you're looking to do in Warmachine is you want to create modules and synergies in the list that can deal with certain things at the table. You don't want things just acting in isolation, not relying on each other. But if you can deal with high defense, if you can deal with high armor, if you are presenting a couple of different problems at the table and you're balanced, typically you'll have some really nice synergies and you'll be sitting on a good list. The next thing is to just get the list to a table and start playing. Don't overthink it, don't overanalyze it. Just get a list that ticks those boxes, that looks fun, build it, paint it, get it at a table and start rolling dice. I'm going to keep tinkering and playing with this list. I'm going to do some more content down the line where we actually play with it and see how it goes at the table. I'm going to mess around with Lylyth, and I'm probably going to mess around with Shurash, which is another Khymaera caster, and also Valerius as well. So you'll see much more Khymaera content from me on the channel, but hopefully that was a useful video in just helping explain a good thought process you can follow to build some cool, interesting lists. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. We've got loads of stuff to come. I'm not going to ramble on about it too much. I'm just going to end the video. But if you're a Warmachine player, like and subscribe to Epic Flail. We're only doing Warmachine content. I really, really appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time.